believe she got her own little receipts that she holds on to just in case, but they need to show the grand madam her rightful respect. I applaud her for having her perfume on Home Shopping Network. I applaud her for that. She's gone through quite a bit of shit while she's been on that show. And I don't think that people give her enough credit of pulling herself up and keeping going, striving, keeping it going. You know what I mean? Now, let's get on to Wendy. Wendy, I'm not a fan of. I don't know what it is. I'm not gravitating to her. And Giselle and Robin like her, of course, because they like everybody right off the bat like that. And I feel like Wendy's not a threat. And this is by no means being hurtful or anything towards Wendy, but Wendy is not one that I would say is top notch. Like, she seems like just an average chick with education. You get what I mean? I don't see her as like fashion icon. I don't see her as anything more than a smart woman, and that's not a threat for Giselle and Robin. If she was gorgeous, that would be a threat. They don't like that, you know? Or if she was had products or something like that she's pushing, they would not like her, because that's more of a competition for them. The education side, they could let that ride because they're not really that deep into education. That's just my opinion. So that's how I feel about it. Let's get on to Real Housewives of Atlanta. Loved it. I miss Nene though. I'm not gonna lie. Nene definitely brought a little sass and a little nose up in the air to the show, and I liked it. Portia, I couldn't be more prouder. Like, that episode gave me chills watching Portia, because we remember Portia from the beginning when she was like really stupid and just like not her own woman. And it was just, now I'm like, I can hang out with Portia. I like her. You know, she's got some depth to her. You could see that she's mature, she's grown, and she allows that growth, and it really does show with her personality, and I'm all for that. So kudos to Portia. I'm not a fan of Kenya. I don't feel sorry for her with her marriage. I think the whole marriage in itself was already a scam. She was just trying to link up to somebody and have a kid, get an instant family, and she did what she did. Nobody knew about the wedding. Nobody knew about them dating. Nobody knew about anything with it. And listen, there's a way to keep your relationship on the low, and there's a way to keep your relationship hidden. And there's two different scenarios, and hers was hidden. All right. So I don't feel sorry for anything that she's going through right now. The signs was there. And sometimes we actually got to go through the bullshit in order to come out on top. But she needs to stop talking about the bullshit and just do her thing and come out on top. Cynthia, on the other hand, will she shut up? I'm like, now I've met Cynthia, sweet lady, but I just don't like her. Like, just her persona on that show, it kind of seems like she's not really giving her full self. Like, she's so, like Nene says, she's flip-floppy. Like, she's flip-floppy. One minute, you know, she's just very thankful. Then the next minute she wants to have this wedding with 250 guests, and she doesn't want to elope. She'd rather move the date. It just so superficial. And I don't like that. That just turns me off from Cynthia. And that whole talk about the wedding really turns me off about Cynthia. And speaking of that wedding, she had all these guests there, right? And especially during COVID, if you getting married, you're like, I want the most important people at my wedding. And 250 people wasn't the closest, most important people, because Giselle Bryant was there, and they're not great friends. All right. And Giselle even said during that she got nervous because people were taking their mask off during the reception and she was out. Cynthia didn't like it. Oh, well, Cynthia, you wanted to have the big wedding. That's what you get, you know? If you wanted it to be special, then you should have just had your intimate family or the people you really are close to there. Like, it was a show. Just say you wanted to put on a fashion show. You wanted to do it big. Stop lying or being around the bush and be like, but it's important because my first wedding, it wasn't happy. Girlfriend, ew. That's why, let me stop. That's why I'm not a fan of Cynthia. Anyway, so let's take a quick break and then we're going to come back with what's happening. What's happening? Okay, so starting, oh wait, where's that paper? Is that it? Oh, all right. So let's start it off. I definitely know this topic. I don't have to look for it. Ashanti and Keisha Cole. Oh, yes, baby. Now, that is a versus that I could get behind because I like Ashanti. I like Keisha Cole. And one of my Facebook friends made a very interesting comment saying two different styles. Ashanti's happy. Keisha Cole is depressed. But not really depressed, but Keisha Cole makes those breakup songs like Mary did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And you be like, yeah, chick, yes. You fucking kidding me? Yes. Fuck him. Yes. And Ashanti had you with that little side step, that two step. He was like, okay, yeah, I'm in love. Yeah, it's all good. What? Yes. Yes. So I can't wait. I honestly think that Keisha Cole might come up on top on this one because Keisha has some bangers and man, that's just exciting. So Ashanti, Keisha Cole versus, I like to say it like that, on December 12th. You could check it out on Instagram. And if you don't know how to do it on Instagram like me, I have no idea. So I end up going to Facebook and find a live YouTube video, and that's how I watch it. But that's going to be a good one. So make sure December 12th, Saturday, you ain't doing shit but sitting there with your drink in your hand and your little stiletto shoes. You got to dress up for this one. And you just vibe out. And I can't wait, too, for the fashion. Oh, my gosh, because you know Keisha Cole though sometimes is a hit or miss, but when she's on, she is fire. Okay, Ashanti's always killing it. Plus Tim, he's actually one of my Facebook friends, is her stylist, and ooh wait, he be killing the game. He was styling Little Kim. He be killing the game. So that fashion automatically is going to be on top. So make sure you looking cute while the versus is happening. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, oh gosh. So I was looking for articles to talk about, and there was one that I was so interested in. And it had to do with food. Ain't no surprise, right? Let me see. Let me try to find that. And it talked about how Black people in America, which it's not a surprise to us, but they were saying how we definitely changed the game when it came to cooking, and we don't get our we don't get our respect for that. They were saying how poor people season their food. People, most white people back in the 1800s, they didn't season their food. This isn't a surprise. And this article goes on to say that poor people were the ones that took all the herbs and seasonings to doctor up the meats and the vegetables that they had, because most of the time the parts of the meat was the parts that nobody else wanted, and they probably wasn't the best tasting parts, so they had to doctor it up. You know, we be putting some seasoning on stuff, you know what I mean? People like, oh, what, you got eggplant tasting like this? We know how to make it taste good. So this article talked about that, and then they talked about, which I did not know, they said that James Hemings, Thomas Jefferson's enslaved chef, traveled with the family to France, learned the art of making ice cream, and brought it back to the U.S. along with copper cookware, European-style mac and cheese, and French fries. Isn't that something? That is freaking awesome. I never knew that. This article is really, really, really smart. It talks about also how Black people sold clams and oysters and all that stuff back in New York in the early 1900s. So I'll post up this article and all the articles that I'm talking about inside of What's Happening on the Facebook page, Sunny Side of Life Podcast. Moving on to the next one. Let's see where we at now. Oh gosh. Let me tell you this. If you driving a Kia, you better be careful, honey. These Kia cars is being recalled. Close to 300,000 U.S. vehicles are being recalled because they fear that you may be driving and your engine catches on fire. Now, that would be the scariest shit ever, right? Like, you driving down the block and your car just start bursting into flames. Whoa. Goodness. So they're saying that these vehicles range from 2012 to 2015. I'll give just a couple, but you could just double check your vehicle by either looking at this website or, you know, reaching out to your Kia dealership. We got the Sorento, Forte Coupe, Optima Hybrid, the Soul, and the Sportage vehicles. Isn't that all of Kia vehicles? Like, that sounds like all of them to me. I don't know. But anyway, you definitely want to check to make sure, because I would hate for something like that to happen to you and, you know, it end up being something serious. So make sure you check that out with your vehicle. Here's another one that I thought was so freaking crazy. Man, this is like some crazy stuff that be happening in this world. I've never heard of this guy, Forrest Fenn, but apparently he had this treasure hunt that's been going on for years. This guy ended up writing a book, Forrest Fenn, and in the book, it had different clues on how to find this treasure. Now, it took years for people to try to figure this out. 10 years to be exact. And people have died trying to find this treasure. Over 350,000 people tried to search for this chest. Okay. And one man did it. 32-year-old guy did it. It was, let me see. Did I write down when it was? Yeah. So he found this treasure in June. Now, the author passed away in September prior. So he wasn't able to, you know, congratulate him. But the family of Fenn did. And so the guy, Jack Stoff, 32-year-old medical student from Michigan, wanted to stay anonymous. Rightfully so, because this treasure is worth like $1 million. And it has all kind of artifacts and all kind of like treasury stuff in it that's valued over $1 million. Here's the problem. He couldn't stay anonymous because after the author Forrest Fenn passed, some lady said if anybody finds this treasure, it's because they hacked my emails. So being that he's won, the lady has